All right, everyone, welcome back to the community conversation. It's been a few months since we've done one of these, and I'm super excited to have Emily Oberlee on today's community conversation. Emily is a dedicated 5 a.m.er. I think she's one of the only folks that travels weekly and jumps on the virtual. She does not like to miss her workout. She's been
That's
a
right.
loyal Prototype member for, it's like 2019, so it's a few years now. And she's been, just an awesome addition to our community, and just super pumped to have you on today, Emily.
Well, thank you. And thank you for thinking of me.
Of course. So, we were talking a little bit before this, but I know kind of like your story a little bit in terms of like how you kind of found the gym, but like I'd love for you to kind of share that with the folks that are listening. So, how'd you find the gym? Like, what's your, background, like all that sort of stuff.
Sure. So I've always been a fitness person. I was kind of reflecting on this and I was laughing. I grew up with my parents dragging me to racquetball clubs, like back in the 80s. So I've always had fitness as, a center point of my life. And so I went through with my career, I worked for a company. We were living in the Netherlands. I thought this was a company I was going to retire from. And all of a sudden they get bought by another company, and I make a decision to leave, and I'm going to start something new.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm originally from Michigan. The company had to move me back to Michigan, and I took a job out here in Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
But it took me a long time to find a house.
Mm-hmm.
So for about 10 months, I was flying back and forth between Michigan and Massachusetts. My family was back in Michigan, and I was working with Heather Schmidt, and she kept saying, you have got to come to CrossFit, because at the time I wasn't working out during this traveling, and it was, I could really feel it. And but I didn't know where I was going to land. And so ultimately, fortunately, I landed in Westboro. And I think I remember we moved the last week in July. And it was like 2 days after we moved in, I came to the gym and I'm like, I'm going to sign up. I've got to start. I've got to get back into it. And very glad. I mean, it was really even a lifesaver for me, because 6 months later, COVID hit. So we're new to a state, new to a town. And, we didn't know, we still don't really know a whole lot of people, but the gym was really my outlet. And it's a fantastic community.
Awesome. So I didn't know that you lived in the Netherlands. What was that experience like? And you said that you went from working there and then kind of went back to Michigan, and then you kind of went to Massachusetts. But like, what was that? I'm curious, like, what were you actually curious too? Like, what were you doing, like workout and fitness wise, when you were in the Netherlands?
Oh yeah. Great question. A lot of biking. So we were on an expat assignment in the Netherlands. It was actually our second rotation there. And I work for a company that had their regional supply chain out of the Netherlands, and they were supplying infant formula to Europe and to China. So that's what we were doing over there. We moved over as a family. I mean, we moved our entire household over, and we were there almost 3 years. And what I found in the Netherlands, so they're very active. They ride their bike everywhere. I wasn't able to ride my bike to work, but like the girls rode their bike to soccer practice. We rode our bike to the grocery store. We had a special setup on the back of it where you would put your groceries in the back. So that was definitely, but biking and walking were fitness. I did join a gym over there where I did a lot of the HIIT, the high intensity type of things. What I found, though, they do not get up early. So gyms don't even open up until like 9 a.m. over there.
Really?
Yes. So that was really hard for me, because I have to do it first thing in the morning.
Was that because like it's just not part of the culture to get up early? They go to bed later. Like, is that like also kind of the work environment too? Like everything just starts later in the day?
Generally, yes. It's just,
Okay.
it's the culture. They start a little bit later. They'll work out in the evening
Mhm.
more so than say the early morning.
Mhm. Got it. So that must have been a
So
little bit of an adjustment. Like I can imagine, because you're like you're a 5 a.m.er. Like you're just
I'm exactly, maybe I go to the 6 a.m.
So yeah, that's sleeping in for you, right? So I can
Right,
imagine like
right.
waking up early, having to go to bed early. Now it's like flipped to the exact opposite way. It was interesting, kind of like you're mentioning the fitness stuff and like family and like you've gotten your daughter involved in the gym too. She's doing like the barbell club too, right?
A- Absolutely. And I'm so thankful. I'm thankful to you and to Joe that you have this and that you invite kids. And just like my parents, they did that for me, right? I
Mhm.
grew up going to racquetball clubs, and it's always been part of our lives. And I want
Mhm.
to do the same for the girls. And I'm glad that they have this opportunity. And she loves it, and she's
So,
thriving. She's learning. So it's Morgan.
yeah.
And yeah, she loves being part of that atmosphere. And she herself, so she plays volleyball at the high school,
Mhm.
and she still wanted to lift weights. And
Mhm.
so she comes in at 6 in the morning now, twice a week. And Joe was great at setting up a routine for her and another girl so that
Mhm.
they could continue their weightlifting.
So awesome. I love when families can share kind of like fitness. Like it's just such a cool thing. It's funny because I'm in the back office right now and Charlotte is out like in her little, um, car seat, like stroller
Mercy.
against, and I think Brian's like pushing her around the gym so we can do this. But yeah, I mean, like I'm trying to get her in there, just like you going to racquetball courts like your whole life with your parents. Like I'm trying to get her exposed to the gym, specifically the dropping of the weights, so she's not like freaked out when she's a little bit older, because it can, she
It
gets
can.
she gets startled when I just cough. So I'm like, you know what? If you can get used to barbells dropping, you can listen to dad cough over here and whatnot. But another thing, like you came here, but you like weren't doing CrossFit. Like this was like, right? Like you weren't doing CrossFit. That was like the first like
No.
experience. What was like the biggest differences or change, or I guess change from like what you were doing before, like in Michigan in your normal routine, to then starting in like a gym, like our gym, like doing CrossFit classes?
Yeah, it was I was doing more cardio type
Mhm.
routines. I would do a lot of running or jogging. And then if there were weights, it was dumbbells, not barbells. So
Mhm.
that for me, coming here, I really learned, some of the Olympic moves. I'd never done them before, like
Mhm.
the clean and the snatch. And I was like, what is this? And
Uh-huh.
and that's been also a really positive thing here is I like to learn, and
Mhm.
I'm constantly learning something
Love it.
and continuously improving and progressing. And
I,
that's me
I
motivating.
I will say, like, you are one of the few people that is diligent on logging their workouts. I do know you have a journal and you
Yes.
bring it in and you like log it in the system. You also keep a journal. I think that's cool. And I'm curious, like, because the power of kind of tracking and measuring your progress is like important. And I feel like that's something that like is valuable to you. And I don't know, maybe kind of share your perspective on that, because I do think that others could like benefit from just like that perspective, because there's power in that.
Yes. So it's COVID.
Mhm.
Because when we all came home, I didn't have a whiteboard. So I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna get out a notebook and
Mhm.
start tracking it. And but I like it. A couple reasons. First of all, I mean, I'm in front of a computer all day long. So at the end of the day, when I look at tomorrow's workout, I don't want to be. I just want to write it down,
Mhm.
kind of unplug,
Mhm.
and think about it. But
Mhm.
I also think, and this is something actually, I talk about at work, is I do think there's a connection between, looking and writing it down,
Mhm.
that then you think about it, you reflect on it, versus when everything is all digital
Mhm.
in online, do you
Mhm.
really get that kind of mind
Mhm.
connection? So
I
for me, it's
I
also, I
agree with
like,
you. I totally agree with you.
Well, and I see you have behind you,
I was just gonna say,
I
this is
can't
how,
see, I don't know what they say, but
don't worry about what they say, what it says, but this is, yeah, this is my,
but
yeah,
it's the same
it's,
thing, you put
it's,
something on the wall,
it's,
you can
it's,
write about it.
it's everywhere.
Awesome.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm, totally.
So you can look at it, reflect on it, and come back to it. And that's what I like. I mean, I can page back, like this morning, I went back and when's the last time I did thrusters and,
Mm,
how many we were doing. And then I kind of gauge, all right, yeah, I can maybe go up 5 pounds
mhm,
or not.
mhm. It's awesome. Yeah, it's powerful, like it being in front of you. I like the point you said, kind of like your world is so digital now. There is I'm a believer in that too. It kind of being out in front of you, it's easy to kind of revisit it and explore it and learn, and then like, tinker, like, what I mean, like, and even be able to kind of measure your progress and see kind of where you were to where you are now. Like it being like in front of you, you can literally see those. It's funny, I should bring this in for you. I have a journal. We used to have these like like CrossFit Prototype, like WOD journals. Like they used to make them. I don't even know if the company still makes them anymore. But like I have like my workouts from like 2012 like
Yeah.
in there. It's funny, like it's just, this is pre-Wodify. So this was like when we
Yeah.
didn't have like it online, and I'm like, I actually like that, like being able to kind of write all that stuff down. So maybe it's something that you're inspiring me to kind of revisit that for myself, personally for my workouts. So since you're like kind of all in on CrossFit and you love
Oh, yeah.
learning and all that sort of stuff, I'm curious, like, are there any like standout like CrossFit workouts that are like your favorite or favorite movements or anything like that? Anything that kind of comes to mind?
Ooh, that's a good question. Maybe nothing. I mean, I guess I do like the clean,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like I am getting better at it.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been able to increase on weight.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of like, when we do, first of all, the partner workouts. Those are
Mm-hmm.
always fun when you have somebody to do that with.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I kind of like, I guess, the chippers,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
where you've got it and you just got to kind of work through it, stay
Mm-hmm.
focused.
Mm-hmm.
I do prefer, running when we mix in the running or the jogging
Mm-hmm.
in between as well,
Mm-hmm.
or rowing. I mean, my preference is running
Mm-hmm.
versus rowing, but
You are the minority in that. I'd say most folks
yeah, well,
cringe and do not want and avoid the running workouts.
I
You
know.
like
Well,
the
Kim
running
and I
workouts.
are there. Kim and I will talk running
Mhm.
today.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, she's definitely good there. You've I know one thing, and just kind of circle back. I didn't know that Heather Schmidt was the one that like that told you about the gym. So that's cool. That's something I learned about today. I know you guys like work together and stuff like that, but I didn't. I guess I didn't make that connection like in my head. And that's cool. You guys work out together, work together. Like I guess I'm curious. Like you got do you work together? Are you seeing like a relationship? Like you guys able to like train together in the gym? Is that like impacting work relationship? Is like other stuff to talk about? I'm just curious.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So the company that I moved out here for, Heather and I worked at together. I worked there for 3 years. I actually moved on to a different company now.
That's right.
But
Okay.
Heather was my first friend
That's awesome.
out here, and she recommended the gym. She told me about you and John.
Mhm.
I think at the time she was training with John, and just spoke very highly about it, and then we started coming to the 5 a.m. class together, and absolutely it's certainly fostered the friendship, and certainly and also helps keep us connected, even though we don't necessarily work together.
Totally. That's cool. Now I was curious. Another thing, since like you're like at like religious on tracking like your workouts and that sort of thing, like what are you like I'm curious of like your goals, like what are the things that you're working on, what do you want to get better at, like what are the I guess maybe 3-month outlook, year outlook, whatever, like what are those things?
Yeah, so consistency is important to me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just as much the mental,
Mm-hmm.
it maybe even more so than say the physical. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's why I come as much as I do. I get such a mental kind of start to the day or reset if it's needed. So I just will continue to come. Even if I'm tired, I just say, just go. You don't have to even, do the full, just get it done.
Totally.
So I want to just continue to be consistent. As far as some of the physical goals, I mean, I would love to nail double unders, but do it like consistently and not this, 1, 2 or 1, 2, 3.
You are getting it. You've gotten so much better. It's awesome.
We're getting there, but boy, I just want to find that rhythm.
If there's a analogy to learning and development, that movement is like right there up with it. You can see the evolution and the progression, and it's so similar across the board for almost everyone. I think it's very, very rare that folks do try that for the first time and are able to do it successfully. And I think I've only seen one person in my entire life that like you gave them the jump rope, you showed them how to do it, and they were able to do them like in a row. Like I'm not even joking. I've been, coaching this stuff for, I don't know, CrossFit specifically, for 12 years. And it's like, I think there's one person that comes into my mind, but it's like, it's so analogous to like learning anything. It's like, there's like a progression there. And then there's like also the regression. There's some days you're kind of like, why is this not working? Right.
Exactly. I was just thinking, it's like golf for me. I have a good hole or a good shot, and I'm like, okay, or I have bad and I want to, throw the clubs in the lake and be done with it and never do it again. But then I'll have like a good shot. And so it's the same thing. I'm like, oh, I'm done with this. I need a new jump rope, or and then I'll have a good run of double unders or jump roping. Like, okay, I can do this.
I did not know you were a golfer.
Yeah.
Do you play often?
Not often, not so much anymore. We used to, actually live close to the golf course here and don't take advantage of it enough. But maybe once the kids, kids kind of get in the way of the game.
Yeah. It's a commitment. I'll tell you that. Like,
yes.
It's funny, since I've had Charlotte, Aaron and I used to play, every weekend, and I don't think I've played in, maybe 12, almost since I think I played twice since she was born. But like, it's fun. It's like, it is a commitment. If you're going to go play 18 holes, you're out there. It's a 6-hour commitment, driving, playing. There's always the 19th hole, no matter what.
Exactly.
So, you're not just leaving the course. So one thing I want to get into, which I think we're at a good point here, is our two truths and a lie.
Yes.
For you folks that are listening, you may not have seen this or listened to the community conversation before. We do this thing called two truths and a lie. So Emily's going to try to stump me. She's going to give me 3 statements. 2 of those are true about her, and one's a lie. And I got to try to figure out which one's a lie. I will be very honest. My track record is not very good. I don't know. People can lie to me pretty easily. So I'm going to do my best, but I'm curious, Emily. I know you got a few things. Like, let's hear them. I'm going to do my best to try to nail you on this.
All right. And so you want me to say all 3 of them at once?
Well, yeah, you could just one. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
All right. So, so I have a really big family back in Michigan. Another one is I used to do triathlons. And then the third one is that I am a huge fan of the 80s hairband music. But then also I really like some other eclectic stuff like Depeche Mode and Prince. So those are the 3.
All right. This is tough. So the last one, a huge fan of 80s hair band music, Depeche, like it's so specific that like I feel like it's either that has to be the lie or it's so true that like it's got to be true. So I'm gonna like say that that's a truth, but like don't tell me if I'm wrong quite yet.
Okay.
I haven't made my final decision. I got to pick the lie. Big family in Michigan, I assume is true because it's vague, and big family could mean something differently to you than it could to me. But I do think that may be true. The triathlon, I'm curious about, because I know you used to do like running. You have a fitness background. We didn't talk about that. I said, I'm going to go with 2. The triathlon's a lie.
No,
Oh, God,
that's the truth.
I suck at this game. Okay, I suck. All right. Well, let's start with that. Don't tell me the lie yet, but like, I don't know. So you did triathlons. Like, so did you have to put that on pause? Like when you were in the Netherlands, did you do that when you were there? Or was this like more of a Michigan thing?
Yeah, no, I did them in Michigan.
Mhm.
You know, with all the lakes around, it was very easy, you know, accessible to find lakes and do them. Yeah, again, it goes back to once the kids came around, it kind of went
Mhm.
on pause. But
Mhm.
yeah, I still have the bike and the wetsuit and all the gear.
Mhm.
So I
Cool.
didn't do any major ones. They were
Mhm.
more, you know, sprints
Mhm.
or the next one up from a sprint.
Yeah, it's cool. I
So,
didn't
but
know
I
that.
do
That's
like
cool.
them. I do miss them. I thought, you know, maybe some point we can get a small group to go and do something, you know, do a small one.
I would love it. That sounds like a great idea. I've never done a triathlon myself. I've done an ergathlon, which I maybe like that. It's kind of cool.
Okay.
We do the Concept 2 bike, the ski erg, and then the rower. It's all an indoor thing. I did it last year and it was it's pretty brutal. But that's cool.
That was
I did not know that about you. All right, what's the lie?
the lie is my big family. I
Okay.
have a very small family.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Um, back in Michigan, which, you know, makes it tough at times.
Hmm.
But yeah, I would like to have a big family. I think that would be, you know, cool, but
Hmm.
no, just one sister, only like 3 cousins.
Hmm. That's it.
That's it.
Yeah. So I was like tempted. I was like, oh, that's like very vague. I don't know what that means, but okay. And then so the another truth that you said is like huge fan of 80s hair band music, Depeche Mode, Prince, like that's
Oh
pretty
yeah,
cool. So
Def
like what
Leppard.
give me some of the favorites on the hair band.
Oh, Def Leppard. So
Mhm.
I'll wear my Def Leppard t-shirt to the gym.
Didn't you,
Uh,
were you, did you, was that one of your costumes one year for how the Halloween? I can't remember. Maybe not.
it wasn't, but I was actually thinking about it this year.
Mhm.
That's
Okay.
interesting you make that.
Uh-huh.
So Van Halen,
Uh-huh.
Poison, Guns N' Roses.
Oh, there we go. All right. So I know what music to play when you're in class now. Now I'm getting like
Oh
my
yeah,
lit,
all the
my,
AC/DC.
I'm getting my
Any of the
list. I'm getting my list now. This is awesome. It's cool. It's cool. I didn't know that. I didn't know that about you. But then you also like Depeche Mode and Prince. So it's a good wide variety of music there.
yeah, yeah, it's kind of crazy.
It's
So
awesome.
yeah,
That's cool.
it's eclectic from that era.
It's cool. That's awesome. Well, Emily, I super appreciate you being on the community conversation today and sharing all this stuff. This is just really cool. I learned a lot. There's a lot of lessons to be taken out of this. For the folks that are listening right now, thank you so much for tuning in. We love doing these community conversations, highlighting our members and being able to talk and learn some life lessons from all of them. There's tons of stuff to learn from a lot of the great people that we have here, and very thankful to have Emily on today's episode of the community conversation. So thank you all so much for listening, and Emily, thank you so much again for being part of this conversation today.
Yeah, well, thank you. And thank you for all that you do for us. I appreciate it, Mike.
You're very
You do a
welcome.
great job.
Thank
So
you.
we'll have a great day.
Bye.